best for the big weekend of Rallycross that's ahead, sponsored by Barham Zetter. And we are going to start the action in Division 3, the homegrown division, you might say. These are the cars that usually race here over the winter months. Tommy Graham is going to be on pole position on the inside, Tom Farrell, then McNally, and then Cleary. Carl Cleary in the Mini, the 1480cc Mini. So it's escorts all the way, except for Carl Cleary in his Mini. And Tommy Graham is in the Mark II Escort, the red one you see on the left of your picture. There will be 5 laps. It's just a timed heat, this in essence, because they choose the 2 fastest timed heats out of 3, and that decides their position in the C, B and A finals. But that's all ahead of us. Let's just treat it as a race. And surely the favourite here, Brian Chute, must be Tommy Graham, getting a little bit of ventilation into the cockpit there before some very energetic work ahead of him.
Yes, very quick in the first heats this morning. Tommy was the quickest man overall. The starter has his hand up. Tommy on the inside, pole position. It's a 4-car grid. Carl Cleary on the outside in the Mini makes a very, very good start, but it's Graham up the inside as they hit the loose. The red Escort sliding wide, and Cleary there in the little black Mini having a little look up as they go up to Phillip Straight. They're coming into a second gear hairpin now as they turn in the Escort rear wheel drive. The little Mini front wheel drive should work on the loose. Into the chicane, 727, Tommy Graham as he comes off the loose there at Mobile, slightly sideways on the tarmac there and back on the loose at Zetter and back onto the main straight, Alan.
And we see Tom Farrell pressing very heavily there in 3rd place, and surely the Escort should have the power on the straight line. He's going to make a bid for the inside, but Carl Cleary quite legitimately blocking his move. Tremendous drive from the Autotest man here in the little Mini. Mini's, of course, excellent in wet conditions, but he slipped it too wide there, and Farrell slipped through on the inside.
Yes, went in very, very deep, Carl, and got a lot of understeer and let Farrell up the inside, but he's got alongside him again on the loose. The Mini should work well on the loose. Tommy Graham at the moment has a brilliant lead, local man from Prosperous, and Farrell still in 2nd place. Clearly now battling to hold on to 3rd place there from Pat McNally. So that's McNally there, 232 in 4th place, but Graham having this one all his own way and clearly beginning to fight back. He's got Tom Farrell in front of him in a 2-litre Escort. Another 2-litre Escort there, Tommy Graham, as they go down on the tarmac. Rallycross, of course, a mixture of loose and tarmac. Onto the loose there goes Tommy. A slight flick right, left, and little sideways as he comes off the loose through a long right-hander. Then he down a gear. Now he's down into 2nd gear there to come back out in the straight. Down the battle. There's the 2nd place man, John Farrell, followed by Carl Cleary in the Mini.
So Tom Farrell in 2nd place, but the man out front is Graham, and Graham had actually put up the fastest time in the first heat at 3 minutes 2.51, 2 laps to go. And there's the battle for 2nd place, and Carl Cleary, after making a few mistakes there a couple of laps ago, has really recovered himself a little bit. But Pat McNally benefiting from the infight, and Cleary trying to go around the outside. A very brave move, and I said I didn't think it was going to work, but he's got the inside line now. Tremendous stuff there. Tom Farrell, very experienced autocross man, just not liking this infighting, and McNally goes through.
Yes, it looked as if John Farrell missed a gear there, but clearly was great. Held his ground through the chicane, got up the inside and outfoxed Farrell onto the tarmac. Now he's beginning to pull away. Maybe Carl had a problem in the earlier lap because he seems to have the legs now of John Farrell in the Escort, and Farrell getting very wide, possibly a puncture, gone off the track there, but now he's coming under pressure from Pat McNally in the other Escort. So it's Cleary now in 2nd place, followed by McNally.
Well, Carl Cleary modestly said to me today he's never really won anything in Rallycross, and look at him trying, see the head down. Tom Graham takes the checkered flag. It'll be a very quick time. He's got his own time of 3 minutes 2.51 to beat. Carl Cleary's in 2nd place. Pat McNally's 3rd. Tom Farrell definitely not going to count this run, but there's the man that absolutely dominated it. Sam Crawford eager to get out on the grid there, car number 250 from the north of Ireland. On his right is Don Shannon, another visitor from the north. And then we're going to have Lloyd Spendlove in his Mini, and the great Kenny McKinstry. And I say that with all justification, because he's the man that created history by winning all 3 Rallycross championships 2 years ago. His
starters in the back. That's Kenny there in the escort on the inside in pole position. Spendlove gets a very good start, but Kenny, once he gets second gear, but on the outside, a great start from Don Shannon. Cuts straight across the nose of everybody, a little wide, but it's McKinstry. Spendlove up into third place, so a great start there from Don Shannon, but look at McKinstry, Alan, trying down the outside.
Well, now, this is a very old car of McKinstry's. He's used it for many years to rallycross in, and indeed do rallies in. He's won 2 small club rally events recently, forestry events. It's not ideally suited for rallycross, a little bit heavy probably, but Kenny obviously going to chuck it around. We're surprised to see Sam Crawford at the back there, and expect him to be a little bit further up. Don Shannon now getting a bit wild, and McKinstry getting on with the work. He's disposed of the opposition. Now he's up against the clock. Spendlove holding on well there in third place in the Mini.
Yes, it's getting very wide there and letting Spendlove through into second place. McKinstry, the only man, can take the first corner, bar and bend flat. He just doesn't lift, and as you said, Alan, it's an old car, but working away in there. He needs to put up a good time to move up the heats. This is the second runs. These are the second runs, heat 2 of Division 3. So 4 cars in each heat, and these guys now battling away. Number 250 there, Sam Crawford, bringing up the rear. But Don Shannon getting very, very sideways as he comes out on the main straight. That's where he lost out to McKinstry. Now Crawford's having a look at McKinstry. Full car control, full four-wheel slide. And again, Spendlove has hit the tyres there. Hit the tyres badly. Bounced well back, went into the tyre barrier on the outside of the corner, spread a few tyres around, driver out of the car. That is where, if you come in too heavy on the loose, he is now blocking the road slightly. Kenny will be getting the yellow flags. Meanwhile, the rest of them are up at Zetter Bend. Kenny a beautiful long lead, with Shannon in second place.
And he's got 2 laps to go, Kenny McKinstry. That's just where Spendlove, the Delgany driver, hit those tyres at a heck of a wallop there a lap ago. He's out of the car, he's perfectly all right, but I don't think he's probably done his Mini any good. There's McKinstry right up over the curbs. I've noticed some of the really quick men are just ignoring that curb and flooring it through there. McKinstry was third quickest in the first heats. I think he's got a very good chance of at least going second quickest. It may not be Graham's time, but his previous time was 3 minutes 6.36. There he is with support from Autoglass, who are, of course, bringing the Autoglass Tour to Ireland in September. On his last lap now. And you can see that it is a full rally car, the taped up light brackets there on the front of it.
Kenny McKinstry up on 2 wheels again there, Alan, really trying. Now, watch this for car control. Out onto the runners, turns it in very late, or very early, I should say, onto the loose and straight out of the mids. And Shannon still holding second place there. McKinstry back out in the main straight to receive the checkered flag. And he's won his heat, as well as Tommy Graham won the other one. So now, that's your winner, Kenny McKinstry, heading into the paddock. Second place man, Don Shannon, and he's followed across the line by Sam Crawford. And there's Kenny McKinstry, the winner of the second heat, as he takes the helmet off to take a breath.
And there we see Kenny McKinstry. Look at Speedlove in the background. He really has completely run out of road. And he hits those outside tyre barriers, a really serious wallop. And rather lucky to get away with it there. And this brings us into Heat 3 of Division 3. And we've got some very interesting names. Jimmy Stewart, North of Ireland Hot Rod Champion. David Francis, North of Ireland Loose Sprint Champion. Paddy Brennan and John Farrell, another Autocross champion, all in this one. Farrell on the right-hand side of the screen, and a big tangle. That was David Francis involved there. He's got, you see, the front suspension is completely disarranged. That was an extraordinary incident. It's totally unnecessary. But in the meanwhile, Jimmy Stewart gets clear ahead.
Yes, Francis got the grip, but turned left, and unfortunately has pulled the left-hand front wheel out of the cart. But Stewart away now at the moment with Francis, I think, has pitted. He won't be taking part for the rest of the afternoon. Stewart with a nice lead as he comes in. Be tucked in there behind by Farrell. Farrell getting very, very sideways in the Mark II Escort. So Mark III Escort up front there of Stewart, really, and Farrell, an autocross man, very sideways, very, very flamboyant driver, tail out all the way.
Jimmy Stewart, who used to rallycross a Toyota, rear-wheel drive Toyota Starlet, and indeed won the Nuts Corner Championship in that car, now being seriously pressed by John Farrell, a beautifully stylish driver from Navan. Losing out a little bit though on that manoeuvre. Stewart gets a little bit sideways. They're coming into the long right-hander at Zetter on the loose, very fast corner that rather tightens when you come back on the tarmac, and there is no doubt that John Farrell is now in a challenging position.
Yes, John having a look up the inside is the latest man of the race, but no, Stewart turns across in front of Farrell on the inside. He has the right line for the next one. They touch as they come down. Now Farrell on the inside for the hairpin, right down the gearbox into second gear. Francis locking up a front turn, Stewart locking up a front wheel there. Very, very sideways, Farrell. This is where he lost out in his manoeuvre the last lap, but he's got away this time, pulling a car length on Stewart as they get back out on the tarmac. As he comes into the loose, Farrell, if he keeps it straight, not too much sideways, he's giving Stewart the advantage to catch him there if he's driving side, but Stewart lost that advantage there on the loose, and the Farrell is pulling away.
2 laps to go for John Farrell, and he's really got to keep this act clean, smooth and fast, because he's got a very considerable adversary behind him. One mistake and you can bet your sweet life that Jimmy Stewart will take every advantage of it.
Yes, Farrell there protecting his line on the inside, but it's not the fastest line. Stewart, knowing he was going to do that, got well out to the left so he could have a run through it. Coming off the loose onto the tarmac, Farrell back on the loose, Stewart closing on him there. Farrell again coming back out on the straight, getting very, very sideways, giving Stewart a chance to catch up, but there's still a couple of car lengths in it as they start another lap.
John Farrell lifting the inside wheel as he offers his car up to the loose surface there. Now he's got the confidence. Now he's got a bit of an advantage, but he locks it up badly. He's lost out there. Not so good on this slow one, and that's where Jimmy Stewart makes up yards every time. And look at that. He's given him a little dent on the back of the Escort, but he's probably damaged the Mark II car more than the leaders. So it looks like it's going to be John Farrell to the checkered flag.
Jimmy Stewart lost his chance there. He came in very, very close. He sort of tried around the outside of John, but John got sideways and loose, and Farrell has won that one. And there we are, John Farrell, the winner of that one, the man from Navan of the joinery business. He's just won the second run of Heat 3, and he is on his way back to the paddock.
Porrick Loughnane just behind the barrier there in the yellow Escort. Brian Lennox in the rather unique cadet alongside him. Then Peter White and Andrew Orr. That's the lineup for this one.
And away they go, and a great start there from Porrick Loughnane. Another very, very flamboyant driver, but coming from the outside, Orr has got the jump on Peter White and Brian Lennox. So at the moment it's Porrick Loughnane, followed by Andrew Orr, followed by Brian Lennox, followed by Peter White. And White has moved up into third place. Loughnane there with a big wing on the back of the car to give it that grip. Lost out slightly there. 251 there. Porrick Loughnane in the lead in the yellow Escort as he gets onto the tarmac. A very, very sideways driver. Drives in the style of John Farrell, or making up the rear at the moment. But he's been followed by Peter White there in the Mark I Escort. And Brian Lennox there, the baby out there. That's only a 1300cc car, so he is doing well to be out in this heat at all. Loughnane very, very, very sideways as he gets off the loose there.
Loughnane from Athlone, and remember it's really against the clock at this stage in the heats. How nice to see a Mark I Escort going still very competitively there, but there's Loughnane, 251, not great on the graphic art business on his numbers, but certainly very confident in driving the motor car.
One of the problems may be, Alan, that unfortunately we had Kevin Cherry's car was stolen last night, and all the official numbers for the club to give out this morning happened to be the boot of it. So there was a hastily make-up of tape. They will have it rectified later this evening, but at the moment it's do the best you can with black tape.
So anybody sees an Audi Quattro, white Audi Quattro with big rally stickers on the back of it, please tell us about it. That belongs to the car, the man that the car was stolen last night. That's another story, however, because Porrick Loughnane is way out on his own against the stopwatch. He did 6th fastest time in the first runs in this division. He's less than 2 laps to go, and he's getting quite a bit of interest. Holding on there well, Andrew Orr, the mechanic from Balnahinch, in his Pinto engine car in second place.
There's Loughnane as he comes down to the hairpin, taking the wide line into second gear, just flicks it through into third gear, stays on opposite lock. That's where the tail of the car comes out, and he's got to steer back into that slide. onto the loose here, flat through this, onto the loose as he turns in and back through. Or coming in the Mark II Escort, and this one here, the Mark I Escort, a famous one indeed, VZO 100, a car that Charlie Gunn used in the Circuit of Ireland many, many years ago. Loughnane, our leader, with the 2-litre Escort and the mighty wing, sliding the tail out there as he comes down to brake, dips the nose into a very, very tight hairpin. In the background there, the Mark I Escort getting out of shape slightly of Peter White. And Brian Lennox in the 1300 Opel bringing up the rear. Remember, that is a 1300cc car.
Loughnane on his last lap then. The second heat times not as quick as the first heat, mainly because I think the course has been watered to keep the dust down. So really it's the first heat that's counting at the moment, but Loughnane in with a chance possibly of improving his time.
And Loughnane there deserving his win as he turns down the escape route, as we call it, and he is on his way back to get his car ready for the next heat.
Well, that was the second round of the Division 3 event. We now move to the third round, in which the drivers could confirm their places in the finals, which were due later. Here now again our commentator is Brian Tyndall and Alan Tute.
And McKinstry there on pole position on the inside in the red Escort, and on this heat we have McKinstry, Orr, Sam Crawford and Tommy Graham. Tommy won his heat, McKinstry won his, so it's the battle between the two men. McKinstry on the inside, grid marshal there giving them the thumbs. Watch for the car on the outside of the grid. That's Graham, makes a good start. McKinstry has the best start, a little weaving, diving into the first corner. Graham moves across and he slices the nose off McKinstry, and it's Graham in the lead with a very sideways McKinstry.
And Tommy Graham has in fact been quickest in Division 3 of the two runs so far. McKinstry was quickest in the second heat, but it was Graham's first heat run that in fact gave him the best time so far. And that was a time of 3 minutes 2.51.
2.54 there. Orr has spun and clobbered the tires. But look at this. Graham really being pushed by McKinstry there on the loose as they come back on the tarmac, and Kenny have a look at the inside. Now this is a lot of pressure with Tommy Graham, the local man, and he should know this track because he's the supplier to the grit for the loose, and that's what he does for a business now, really having to look in his mirrors to see what Kenny's going to try. Using the centre of the road so that Kenny can't dive down the inside of the hairpin. Gets very wide there, Tommy. Now they're beginning to come under pressure from the third place man. Slightly wrong there, Kenny up on the curbs and lets Tommy get away from him.
I'd be very surprised if this isn't indeed two of the cars at least in the lineup for the A final of Division 3 tomorrow. But here we go. Tommy Graham not able to shake off the incredible Kenny McKinstry in his rally car as opposed to Rallycross car. And is he trying? Right up over the grass that time. Absolutely giving it his all. Tommy Graham keeping it cool.
Yes, 727 on the loose at the moment, and really this is where McKinstry's making time. He's trying around the outside McKinstry. He'll hope to nick back down and dive in the inside. Look at Kenny having a look at the inside, but Tommy's wide to that move. Kenny doing everything he knows. As Alan said, it's a rally car. Diving for the inside that time, Tommy, to close the door and keep it closed. He doesn't want to close it too much because that'll be the slow line and give Kenny the advantage on the fast sections.
Tommy Graham having to go down the inside there to keep the door closed, as Brian says. Now this is where McKinstry tried virtually the impossible, but he doesn't seem to have the traction of the Mark III car there. He's incredibly quick into here. This is the long right-hand center bend on the loose, of course, and incredibly sideways as he comes out of it. But Graham's still keeping that advantage. Onto the last lap they go, and it's far from over. McKinstry knows this is one of the places where you can sneak through, but he just has to use so much road to stay in touch that it's getting virtually impossible for the Banbridge man. Out they'll go over the curbs now, virtually ignoring that corner, and down into Zetter for the last time.
Yes, and Tommy has matured as a driver. This time last year we christened him Rent-a-Spin, but there's no Rent-a-Spin today. He's got the shoe in, out onto the straight for the last time. Kenny very sideways, and a very well fought battle there by Tommy Graham from Prosperous as he slows down. Checkered flag. Crawford coming up in third place. There's McKinstry, second place man. There's the man who won the race, his second win today, 727, Tommy Graham.
The second rounds of Division 3, and very fraught stuff indeed. Porrig Loughnane getting boxed out there by Peter White. Tom Farrell's in there, Carl Cleary's in there. In fact, it was Tom Farrell who shot through into the lead in the Mark II escort. There's Porrig Loughnane. It's in fact Peter White in the Mark I escort bringing up the rear, and Carl Cleary hanging on for grim death in this mighty tussle for the fastest of the Irishmen. So far, after the first two runs, Loughnane has been third quickest, but Tom Farrell really coming to the fore here as the track dries out.
Yes, Farrell got the best of it there. Loughnane went wide, and he's lost his place there to Carl Cleary. But Tom Farrell well out in the lead there as he gets round on the tarmac at Mobile. The yellow car in the background is Loughnane, and he's been chased by the little Mini of Carl Cleary. Front-wheel drive Mini there. Farrell didn't seem to get out onto the straight as well that time. That will give Loughnane a chance to catch up. They're just turning onto the loose here at Barham. The high wing again on Loughnan's car as they hit the bumps out very wide. Farrell diving across to protect his inside line. Look at the battle here, and down the inside goes Carl Cleary, doing the same thing that Farrell did to Loughnane, and he's through. So Carl Cleary, our new second place man.
And what a hero this young man has been today. Only 24 years old. You're looking at Tom Farrell out of the lead, but this is the man we're really watching, Carl Cleary from Dublin, 1480cc self-built Mini. Tom Farrell surely with the superior horsepower, certainly in a straight line, but there's Cleary, who put up the second quickest time, remember, in the first run of these heats, and now getting clear of the man who in fact was third quickest in the second run. So he's really covering himself in glory, Brian.
Farrell a little bit unstable under braking there, and he's missed a gear. And Cleary is through, and Loughnane is through. Tom Farrell obviously got drive problems there, just died on him, but also Loughnane really charged in behind Cleary. So that's our previous leader out, Farrell. So the battle now is between Cleary here in the little black Mini and Porrig Loughnane, the 2-litre escort.
And he's on his last lap. And I would imagine this is going to be an extremely tense lap. He must have a glance in the mirrors to realize that there's a very large lump of yellow honing down on him as they go out the back for the last time. But the Mini working extremely well on the loose surfaces and being beautifully driven by this man who learnt the art of motorsport in auto testing. Loughnane challenging now as they come up to the start-finish line.
Loughnane has the advantage on the tarmac with the power of the escort, but Cleary makes it all the way to the flag. Carl Cleary there in the Mini, the winner of this heat, second place Loughnane.
So David beats Goliath in that one. Division 3, the two-wheel drive, locally based motor cars. And on pole position, we're going to have John Farrell this time. Alongside him, Pat McNally, then David Shirley and Jeremy Crush. John Farrell, the brother of Tom, who sadly broke a drive shaft in a previous heat. So there's our lineup. One Mini again interloping there, David Shirley's car. And the rest, some very quick escorts indeed, including our friend from England on the outside, number 273, who makes a very good start indeed, Jeremy Crush.
And a beautiful start by Crush, straight into the first corner, leaves Farrell and McNally sitting there, and the Mini bringing up the rear, but a dash right down into the hairpin, and it's Farrell in second place. That was an amazing start, Alan. Usually these escorts are fairly evenly powered, but he seemed to just get a beautiful start, put all the power down. They're beginning to catch up with him now. Maybe they caught them all sleeping on the line, but he's under pressure now on the loose from Farrell.
Well, of course, it's quite an extraordinary motor car. Farrell, as you say, very much under pressure coming up alongside him. It's in fact a turbocharged push rod, that of Jeremy Crush, which has just been vanquished into second place. And for the second time today, John Farrell is leading his heat.
Yes, using the inside line there, keeping Crush out, getting slightly wide with the power of the turbo, having a look at the inside Crush there at the chicane, but Farrell gets the power down. Looks like Crush missed the gear there on the loose. Farrell all the way out, turning back onto the loose here. Now McNally beginning to make notes in there for second place. There's McNally, number 232, the white escort, in third place at the moment. And they're side by side as they come into the loose again. Crush still has the advantage, having a look at the inside. Crush definitely with a problem somewhere. He seems to drop back and then suddenly get this turbo to work. Farrell coming in very late there. He's run wide very late on the brakes, and Crush is up alongside him on the outside of the loose at the chicane. Who'll make the tarmac first? And it's Farrell.
Oh, there must have been slivers of paint off both cars there. Jeremy Crush from Devon, but 5 times visitor to Northern Ireland this year for Rallycross, very frequently coming across the RSC to partake in his sport, and he's under pressure now from Pat McNally.
Yes, McNally keeps having a look at the inside of the tarmac, but the power of the turbo is showing. It's in the chicane that Crush seems to have a problem, whether it is the second gear problem or not, but on the tarmac, does he have the power? All over the back of Farrell's car. Farrell very, very sideways. McNally having a look at Crush, but this is the point where he slows just there, and you can see McNally can gain on him, but once he gets on the tarmac, he can turn up the wick. Out the outside, McNally trying around the outside there on the tarmac. He'll lift now and try and turn down the inside to have the inside shot for the tarmac, and he's through. Crush got out wide on the loose, and McNally is through into second place.
And let's not forget this beautiful driving of John Farrell, who's now on his last lap, going down to the far end of the circuit, down to Phillips Bend for the last time. This is where he made his mistake before, but that time he got it turned in all right. He's very spectacular there, the way he throws in his escort on a very, very late line. There's McNally and the other escort. And here's John Farrell heading for the checkered flag. McNally now truly up into second place. Crush from first virtually to last, but to third in fact. John Farrell takes the checkered flag, 2 wins in 2 heats, not bad going. McNally pleased, I have no doubt, with his second place. Jeremy Crush no doubt disappointed with his third, and final finisher there, David Shirley.
Well, that brings us to the finals, and you can see those after this break.
Europe is shaping the future of Irish farming. Your vote is our voice in Europe. Make the most of June